Most people believe respect is earned in big moments, a bold decision, a visible achievement, a single act of courage. Research on trust accumulation tells a different story. Observers form lasting judgments not from one impressive display, but by pattern-matching quiet, repeated behaviors over weeks and months. The most highly respected people built that standing through habits so silent, most never notice them. It starts with something as simple as how a person listens. Consider Maya Alvarez, a high school counselor managing a difficult parent-teacher meeting. She sits slightly forward, maintaining steady eye contact while a parent speaks. Instead of planning her next response or offering immediate advice, Alvarez waits for the parent to finish, then calmly paraphrases the core concern back to them. This habit of resisted interruption and focused attentiveness is not reserved only for her office. She carries the same quiet presence home, applying it to personal conversations at the kitchen table. These repeated acts of listening establish a baseline of credibility long before any critical decisions are made. A similar pattern of dependability shapes how others view Daniel Okonkwo, an operations manager. Immediately following a project huddle, Okonkwo sends a brief action email detailing ownership and deadlines. His calendar serves as a binding commitment. When he schedules a task, the follow-through occurs exactly as planned, and he routinely arrives minutes before his scheduled meetings. He brings this same structured consistency to his family, leaving the office on time to meet his evening obligations. There are no loud declarations of commitment. Instead, his punctuality and regular follow-through across both spheres form a legible pattern of behavior. Over months, these small, predictable actions remove the tentative nature of cooperation, allowing colleagues and family members to plan their own lives around his word. Aisha Khan, a cafe owner, discovered a discrepancy between the organic labeling on her menu and a recent ingredient delivery. Instead of quietly replacing the inventory to protect her margins, she immediately informed her staff, explained the error plainly to her customers, and offered immediate refunds. That evening, she brought this same directness to her kitchen table, initiating a difficult conversation about a delayed family financial commitment. Because expressing the truth when it carries a personal or financial cost is hard to feign, such actions serve as clear markers of credibility. A parallel dynamic occurs when daily behaviors become predictable over time. Priya Patel, a software architect, hosts brief, 5-minute status check-ins every Tuesday morning with her engineering team, applying the identical quality standards to minor updates as she does to major system overhauls. At home, she maintains a matching domestic rhythm, keeping Sunday morning planning sessions with her family. When observers witness these repeated alignments between stated rules and actual choices across both professional and personal environments, they build a dependable model of what to expect. This predictability of principle allows trust to develop steadily through the quiet rhythm of daily choices rather than rare, high-stakes achievements. Marcus Rivera sits at a conference table, adjusting the credit lines on a slide deck before a major presentation. He ensures a junior engineer's name is prominently displayed next to the system design. When executives praise Rivera for the breakthrough, he declines the personal accolade, redirecting the room's attention to the junior developer's work. This quiet restraint does not diminish his authority. It conveys a self-assured confidence that has no need for self-importance. He carries the same accurate self-awareness home, stepping back to let his partner take the lead in family decisions, recognizing that leadership is not always loud. When commitments falter, the signal shifts from quiet humility to active accountability. Lena Sorensen realizes she forgot to return a borrowed item to her brother, disrupting his weekend plans. Instead of offering excuses about a demanding schedule, she sends a direct apology text, names the exact miss, and schedules an immediate make-good visit. In both family and professional life, this direct ownership of an error operates as a restoration process rather than a punishment. By naming the lapse clearly and initiating a physical repair, she keeps the relationship from hardening into resentment, proving that respect is preserved not by pretending to be flawless, but by taking responsibility when those flaws impact others. This repeated willingness to protect interpersonal trust, rather than personal ego, ultimately secures long-term credibility. During a chaotic midnight shift handover, Omar Haddad faces a series of sharp, accusatory questions about an incomplete log. Instead of reacting defensively, Haddad pauses, takes a slow breath, and speaks in a quiet, measured cadence to address the immediate operational risk. Hours later, when a domestic argument begins to escalate at his dinner table, he applies the same restraint, choosing to lower his voice rather than match the rising volume of the room. This habit of emotional regulation is not the cold suppression of feeling, it is the deliberate management of communication under pressure. In demanding settings, observers closely monitor these effective displays. When a person consistently chooses to steady a room rather than escalate the tension, that visible composure is read as a powerful signal of trustworthiness, proving that respect is often earned not by the intensity of one's reaction, but by the quiet strength of one's control. The human brain processes reputation through continuous pattern recognition. While a single dramatic display can easily impress an audience, it offers very little predictive value about a person's underlying character. True credibility relies on what behavioral scientists call costly signaling. An individual can easily feign a single act of generosity or restraint, but maintaining these low-intensity behaviors over months requires a level of cognitive and emotional effort that is difficult to fake. Observers constantly track these micro-behaviors to form a mental template of predictability. Every time a person listens attentively, arrives on time, or admits an error, they deposit a small increment of trust into the relationship. According to research on subjective consistency, this steady accumulation of signals eventually crosses a cognitive threshold, transforming tentative cooperation into stable, mutual reciprocity. The 7 habits are effective precisely because they recur frequently enough to remain highly legible in daily life. Reputation forms through the slow, steady force of repeated, ordinary conduct that reveals character over time. At a regional marketing agency, Ethan Blake coordinates weekly briefings with flawless etiquette. He maintains steady eye contact, nods at suggestions, and signs his emails with careful courtesy. Yet, once the meetings adjourn, Blake routinely ignores follow-up questions from junior designers and excludes them from client distributions. This gap reveals a clear limit. Surface politeness can easily mimic respectful habits without possessing their actual substance. The interpretation of these daily signals also depends heavily on environment and social hierarchy. A direct, unblinking gaze conveys confidence in Chicago, but denotes confrontation in Tokyo. Within steep corporate structures, systemic bias and organizational power dynamics frequently distort how actions are recognized, meaning identical behaviors do not yield equal respect across different groups. Organizational researcher Brian Connolly explains, power imbalances and cultural schemas fundamentally alter how any gesture is decoded by observers. A low-status employee admitting a mistake often faces immediate penalty, whereas a senior executive is praised for their humility and transparency. These quiet habits function as internal indicators of personal maturity and integrity, rather than a guaranteed formula for securing admiration or social status. Respect remains a quiet choice made when no one is watching. In a world of loud performances, character is still revealed in the silence. It is not a tool for status, but a reflection of integrity. Share your thoughts in the comments below.